It was really, really tough for me to actually decide on this.
Was it? Was it really?
It was.
It was too for me.
DeMusliM is undefeated in the group stages, and just by that alone should tell you how powerful of a player he is. He really is one of the best, in my opinion, the best Terrans in the North American Star League. But HasuObs has also been known to have remarkable PvT. Now, when I looked at the styles and I saw HasuObs and his passive style against DeMusliM's very, very, I would say, aggressive style, but very timing-oriented style, I was thinking, you know, who is better in that, you know, who is better when it comes down to the metagame and what the players are probable of doing in terms of builds, in terms of openings, in terms of specific ways of getting ahead. And I really feel like HasuObs, his super standard style is actually going to defend very nicely against any aggression DeMusliM throws at him. He'll be able to get to his late game stage, which I think is where he shines the most. And I'm going to give it a HasuObs, actually, Mr. Frodan. I had to go through that monologue just because I know your microphone was...
Yeah, guys, the clarification, my microphone fell away from my face a little bit. I had no idea what was going on. And so Andre had to just keep talking for a while. But yeah, no, in the end, you picked Hasu. Now, I went with DeMusliM because DeMusliM has beaten Hasu 4-0 in the past and over track record. And yes, DeMusliM has been on record to say that he struggles against Protosses, but DeMusliM beat Hero. And I don't care how he beat Hero. I just care that he beat Hero. And DeMusliM is a champion. And Ben told me, Mr. Bitter said, don't bet against Benjamin Baker, otherwise you will regret it. So I'm going to pick DeMusliM for this series.
Well, you
that
know,
said,
it's like volcano insurance, though. Yes, he's 4-0, but you're still going to invest in volcano insurance because aren't we due for one?
Yeah, because it only takes one time to be wrong. Is that what you're saying?
It's like it hasn't happened, so you should get volcano insurance because we're due for it.
But
it's a Family Guy quote. It's not supposed to be logic. I thought you were going to get it. Never mind.
Dude, what seasons? I stopped watching Family Guy after like the... Oh, wow.
So don't even give me that.
I'm sorry. I missed that completely. That's totally cool.
No, it might not be season 1. I lied.
That's totally cool. But HasuObs, I wouldn't be surprised if he took this series either because... I mean, he's capable of mixing it up. You know, last time we thought he was going to play macro, and then he 4-gated show. So anything can happen, really. You could see that Hasu gearing up to go for a 1-gate expand. Look at how annoying DeMusliM's being while avoiding the Zealot as well. Great Myco to stall. Oh, trying to see if he can get one more last delay in. And HasuObs won't be denied. Stalker also on the way. You can see Command Center has started a long time ago for DeMusliM. He loves his 1-Rax expands. And that's also kind of what makes it dangerous because DeMusliM is capable of going for that Marine SCV all-in.
I like this style of fast expansion, by the way. It is the style where you get 16 probes on the line immediately. Actually, he's going over that. But you kind of halfway saturate your gas, and you let it saturate over time. That way you can get a really, really fast Nexus out. And on top of that, you have a lot of flexibility after that. So you can see a very fast second gateway, which is unorthodox. We don't see this most of the time.
Yeah, usually you see Protoss either tech directly to Robo, but again, the limited amount of gas, or you see them put 2 more gateways out. And Hasu's just doing a staggered version of that, trying to slowly accumulate rather than try to get all of his units all at the same time. DeMusliM, in the meantime, we'll see how he chooses to tech or utilizes his gas for tech. He's going to place a reactor and a tech lab. No doubt going to eventually start his bio upgrade soon. Now, interesting because DeMusliM has been trying to experiment with some early pressure against Protoss, and I mean, he knows. I mean, he wrote a huge article on Team Liquid, or not Team Liquid, on EG.net, and he was saying like how Terrans really need to pressure early on in order to capitalize on it, and he was like saying like how could David Kim even say that Terrans really need to capitalize on strong early game. But nonetheless, that's what he really did well against a lot of Protosses in this group, and I'm wondering if DeMusliM's going to try to be aggressive, go for a timing either based off stim or just based off Hasu's weaknesses.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if he does that as well. I mean, DeMusliM has a lot of ways to playing this, and especially if he's 4-0 over his opponent, I feel like the momentum goes his way. He actually controls where the game goes. But not only that, HasuObs' style is so passive, I don't think that he really has the way of the initiative. That being said, HasuObs is going to poke in here, sees the first Marauder. That doesn't really tell anything just yet, but it does say, hey, be careful, because there is a potential, like, you know, sort of mid-game push. It could have been 3 barracks and 2 tech labs with a reactor. It could be that type of push. So he should be wary at this point.
Hasu has been playing some Protoss versus Terran other than just the series against Ryong. You can see that Hasu just put in a little bit of pressure, but he did beat Select in the EG Masters Cup when he went up against Dignitas. So Hasu does have a lot of track record against Terran, but in the end his win rate is at 55%. DeMusliM at a little bit more modest ratio, but the big thing is that he's been able to beat big-time players like Hero, like Grubby back at MLG. So DeMusliM looking like he's going to just play very standard. Not going to go to 3 racks, though. Stay on 2 while squeezing in engineering bay upgrades. So this is really cool. Still fast teching, get medevacs out. And as a result, DeMusliM is going to wait for that ability to really drop and control the map more. Hasu is going straight for Colossus, though.
Yeah, I love this style, by the way, from DeMusliM. This is the exact style that I play on ladder all the time. And what it does, the focus is you defend with stim. That's the one that's the upgrade that actually enables you to be strong against everything. And then you get super fast medevacs, and you don't need 3 barracks. And the main reason for that is because you're still going to establish enough map control with those 2 medevacs, with the +1, the early +1, and with the early upgrades. So given all of those, Protoss needs to recede back into his or her base, and from there you can actually go for this, which is an additional 3 barracks, or you can actually get a really fast 3rd base. But you have those 2 complete opposites where it's super aggression or super macro, and it's really, really cool to actually play.
Love the placements of the observer from Hasu. He saw very subtle things as well, and being able to see everything. He knows Terran's about to have +1. He knows the tech availability. Now with the 2 medevacs, a very important timing exists from Protoss to really pull apart where his army can be. Hasu has his first Colossus out, but Thermalance is nowhere near done, giving him, again, a lot less area he can cover. How will DeMusliM choose to respond now that he knows Protoss has a Colossus out? Has to be really cautious, because if you mess up once with force fields, it can do some really wonky things.
Should back from here. There's no need to actually push in. Having that Colossus out, you normally have your Zealots, Colossus, and Sentries all in this phase, with the emphasis on the Colossus doing a lot of damage, the Zealots tanking, and the force fields actually giving you an ability to, you know, kind of contour the units to a position where your Colossus are strongest. So having that, I mean, the Stalkers can zone out, medevacs as well. Backing up is the correct decision, and if we can see from this example, obviously the command center would have been a much better transition to go into. But look at this, up to 7 barracks, and it gets scouted. That's so important. So HasuObs should just know 2 base for maybe 3 more minutes. I don't even have to worry about anything, because I know DeMusliM only can go mass units from here.
At the same time, DeMusliM's starting Viking production, trying to see if he can match. Now, DeMusliM has stated, I think, 4 Vikings per Colossus is a good count, just in terms of the early Colossus count. DeMusliM being very cheeky with his factory, trying to deny a 3rd, but he knows Protoss wants that 3rd. That's his typical Hasu style. Always just macro off 2 base, stay safe, and as a result, Terran can't actually kill you as long as you can cover all of the areas. And especially with good stalker position, you can see making sure there's no drop potential. Double Forge about to finish +1/+1, pretty much negating DeMusliM's advantage of going for very early +1 weapons. And so now it gets to the point where it's really hard for either player to attack into unless Hasu goes for some huge tech play, which is exactly what he's doing.
I think everything that HasuObs is doing right now is the correct decision. Now, it's very interesting that SCVs are joined up in here. It's to tank a little bit of the damage from those Colossus, but with the power of Sentries out in the field, I don't know how much damage, or excuse me, how much damage they'll be able to soak up. This is going to be very difficult. I love this. Sentries going in the front, force shielding immediately, and he needs to snipe those Vikings if he wants to actually defend against this.
Good microphone. Both players thus far pulling back the Colossus, and the Vikings making sure not to overextend. A lot of force fields being placed. Hasu trying to see if he can scissor the army force into a smaller choke, and the Colossus able to engage. Great area for Hasu to engage as the Colossi are ravaging everything on the ground. A massive stim still exists for DeMusliM. He has Medivacs really healing on. The last Colossus is about to drop, and with that, just the armies left. But there's a lot of Stalkers and Zealots remaining. +1/+1 did finish for Hasu, so he does have to even up the upgrades.
Oh my god.
And DeMusliM looks like he's going to be able to push in here. The Medivacs with the Marauders are absolutely wrecking everything. A fantastic spot for DeMusliM, and look at that, even keeping some of the Vikings alive. Great restraint and control from our EG player.
And look at this, he's just going to kite back all the units. The Zealots don't have charge, so this is such a difficult position. Blink is finally about to finish, but this is really off time. And now the Colossus will get in here, but at this point, I mean, you don't have enough units actually defending. So I think these Marauders will just be so powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't care. They can just, I mean, the Colossus doesn't have enough burst damage to deal with this.
Well, a big thing to consider is that during this whole time, DeMusliM has just been staying on his unit production. +2/+2 is about to finish for Hasu. And Hasu still hasn't stabilized, not by a long shot. As you can see, one of the observers does get picked off. A very big key indeed to make sure to keep on tabs where the army is from DeMusliM. But Hasu, he's not dead just yet, but he's going to lose a lot. This Nexus is not going to survive. And with that, DeMusliM takes a very strong lead. Should DeMusliM keep pressing on here, or can he even just fall back in macro?
Fall back, macro, take your third base, go for the upgrades again, and just play the macro game, because you will always have the development upgrade on your opponent. Having this 2 base, it's basically 100% economy over your opponent for a good, 2 minutes approximately. So just take that advantage and go from there. But I mean, pressing in like this is still very safe. I don't disagree with anything that DeMusliM is doing at this point.
Yeah, DeMusliM just wants to prevent Protoss from feeling comfortable of expanding while he gets his third up. And as long as he has that insurance that he's able to get that strong economic lead, start that third before his opponent, he knows he's got a really strong thing. He knows his army's bigger too. I mean, Hasu would have loved to engage by now because he sees 2-2, and he knows, you know, Zealots, they don't have charge, and he doesn't have real ability to deal with the units, doesn't have a good position as well. Very awkward for the Colossus to try to engage unless he can force field the units in. And look at that, DeMusliM keeping the Viking count pretty high, trying to see if he can pick off a Colossus. Some pretty good damage, but good snipes as a result from Hasu as well. Very contested tug of war.
And now DeMusliM knows that the expansion is up in the top left-hand corner. He's going to go here and just deny that very quickly. Now, normally this would be a bad decision, but he has enough DPS over here to just go kill the destructive debris or even fight back.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. HasuObs is in a terrible position.
Yeah.
Force field won't save him.
A flank as well to draw attention away from some of these units. GG from HasuObs. DeMusliM takes game number 1 on Shire Tempo with very strong and pinpoint aggression.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It's very inspiring to you, especially because you know those kinds of styles that you hate facing online.
Well, here's the thing, though. HasuObs tried to get a gigantic advantage from that push. And he knows it's a very aggressive 7 barracks push. He knows that. So at that position, I would have just said, okay, stop at 1-1, don't get my 2-2, get another production round of Stalkers, section everything off, and make sure I can take out all of those Medivacs and the Vikings. If that happens, it empowers your Colossus, and you're in a great position to win the game. Don't go for that 2-2, but he went for the 2-2, and as you can see, he just was not able to defend his Colossus efficiently.
And also Hasu was gearing up for an expand as well, and it's really hard to, you know, manage all your resources to expand tech and make units. Just didn't have enough, but it was so slight because imagine if he dealt with he had enough stocks to deal with the Vikings. Whole different story because the Colossus turned the tide of the battle. And at one point, after all the dust settled, there was 2 Vikings, like 5 Marauders and Marines left, with the reinforcements was too much. The Medivac staying alive was key as well. Great job and control from DeMusliM. In the end, just eking out a win, but a win's a win. And now all of a sudden, DeMusliM is 1 game away from officially securing #1 seed. Thank you to Kingston HyperX, the company that provides memory and SSD like the SSD for the winner of the Sunday Showdown, which you need a subscriber pass. Pick up yours today, as well as to watch potentially the last game or the last series of the day here at Week 8, Division 2. Stay tuned.